We are very pleased now that Devon Herrick has been able to join us via telephone. Darren, of course, a senior fellow at the National Center for Policy Analysis. Devon, we thank you for welcoming us to America's Forum. J.D. Hayworth, John Bachman, and our friend Nick Tate here on the anchor desk with us. Devon, so many problems with Obamacare, but if we boil it all down, it seems that the administration is saying one thing and the American people are finding out another. For example, new reports about health insurance premiums going up. You analyze these things. Is that just a lead pipe cinch that under Obamacare, insurance rates continue to increase exponentially?
Well, of course they will. I mean, just think about this. Really, at its core, all insurance is a transferring of risk. Let's say I don't want to run the risk of paying a medical bill that I cannot afford, so I get insurance. Well, the Obamacare basically is telling me the type of insurance I have to have. It's telling me the type of insurance my employer has to offer, and those limits are a lot higher than most insurance, or virtually all insurance was in the past. There can be no limits. So to the extent the administration has increased the risk of insuring me, of course it increased the price.
Now, with these price increases and these fundamental changes in insurance, we also had what PolitiFact termed as the lie of the year. If you want to keep your doctor, you can keep him. Now that has all unraveled on the president. And yet you see the president saying, hey, good things are going to happen. We're going to stick with this program. When does public opinion and popular sentiment finally result in a change in this program? Do you think we're going to reach a critical mass, Devon, sometime soon, a tipping point, if you will, to bring changes or perhaps repeal of Obamacare?
I'm beginning to fear that we'll be stuck with various elements of it for the duration, in perpetuity. Now, of course, we may fix certain problems, and as premiums. Well, like for example, there is a provision in the Affordable Care Act that if the subsidies in the exchange, exceed, I think it's 0.5% of GDP, it'll clamp down and start really having price controls. So yeah, that might go into effect, but that again is still just trying to band-aid over really a critical flaw in the law. So I'm not really optimistic that we'll have a wholesale repeal and fundamental reform. I think it'll be more piecemeal, because if you think about it, the administration and the backers for Obamacare, I mean, they really believe that they know what's best for all the rest of us. The public health advocates tend to be left-leaning. They have this idea of what health insurance should be, and they think everyone should have similar types of coverage. And I don't know if there's any way to convince them they're wrong.
Well, with that in mind, and Nick Tate, as you remain with us here on set, I know you've been taking a look at the public policy part of this, but there is a political dimension. While various Republican alternatives have been offered on the Hill, do you expect, as we're hearing from Devon on the phone here, that there's kind of a splitting of the difference to, quote, mend it but not end Obamacare?
Right, fix it as opposed to nix it. That's the question, and what I would ask Devon is the same question. For me, I think that the rising unpopularity of Obamacare, the continuing problems with the law, what I see is a kind of, it's almost a desperation by the White House and some of the online YouTube interviews that he's been doing, and his wife and the First Lady have been doing to kind of promote Obamacare. It does seem to me to create an opportunity for some of the alternative plans that have been proposed by critics, including the ability to buy insurance across state lines, covering people with pre-existing conditions by providing for high-risk pools that the states run and the feds finance, which were working before the Obamacare implementation took place this year. Devon, do you see the prospect of those kinds of plans getting premium in those alternatives in kind of a piecemeal fashion, or do you see it as a debate over whether the problems are baked in the cake or can be fixed in this way?
Well, I think you're right that rather than a wholesale reform, that we'll have piecemeal changes. And yeah, I think it does create, as you suggested, opportunities. And what we're seeing with the administration is, they're putting off deadlines, pushing back requirements. just because they know they can't meet those deadlines. So, yeah, I think we need to continue to push for real solutions like that. For example, I mean, there was some word that people within the administration or some of the Democratic caucus were really ready to embrace John McCain's plan, a tax credit. But maybe because they felt they needed to be different, they gave us what we currently have, which is a very convoluted system with an exchange that doesn't work, and subsidies that are income-based that are impossible to figure and calculate, and a mandate we can't enforce.
Well, Devon, we'll have to leave it right there. We thank you for your insights. Nick Tate, we appreciate having you here